I'm a rock star, I'm a raised like rail. I ain't taking L's in Madden all year.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Rage Rail. So in today's video, I want to show you guys how to defend every single empty formation in Madden 23. So if you enjoy this video, go and drop a like on the video right now. Go ahead and sub and turn on post notifications on. So like I said, this video is going to be dedicated to showing you guys how I personally love to stop any empty formation. So you can use this literally versus any of them. So the defense that we're talking about is going to be this $326 or $32. Now I'm personally in the multiple defensive playbook, but dollar is just such a meta formation, so it's in a lot of different defensive playbooks, and odds are it is in your specific playbook that you use. So first and foremost, the most important thing before we go over anything is going to be personnel. So with personnel, I actually just want to show you through the depth chart how you should set up your depth chart, so that way you can have the best players in the best position. So first and foremost, you want to talk about the D tackle position. This is actually going to be where you need your best pass rusher at. Not right here. You don't need to sub him in right here. I'm going to show you in a second, but it's in this position that you're going to need it at. So what I like to do is actually come straight to cornerbacks when I'm talking about this. So you want to obviously make sure your top two cornerbacks are in the 1 and 2. Now don't worry about 3 and 4. It doesn't matter what you do here, because it only matters when you go to slot cornerback. So it doesn't matter who you put here, so just pretend that those don't exist. So you just want your best two cornerbacks here. Now free safety, you guys see I have Stearns here. Jimmy Simmons is the person that's supposed to be there. But the reason I have Stearns is for a couple reasons. One, he's faster, and also number two, the Broncos don't have a good strong safety. So they actually have Kareem Jackson, who's starting, but he's 86 speed, 88 acceleration, so he's just not going to get the job done if you're playing regs. So I actually put Justin Simmons here at strong safety, because I believe it's important to have a tackler, somebody who can tackle, to play strong safety. You don't really want a cornerback who's kind of weak, or a safety who's really weak to play here. You really want a strong safety who can come down and fill the run lane. So that's why I have Justin Simmons right there and Stearns at top. So these two are going to be at the top. So you really want to have people who are pretty fast and who are really good at covering, normally at the top. So next position is going to be this rush left end. So this is going to be literally what it says, your rush left end. Now normally you want to put your linebacker here. So either it's normally going to be your starting linebacker, because they're normally going to be pretty fast. But if they're not, like the Broncos have, I have Randy Gregory here, who is 82 speed with 85 excel. So he's going to be able to get after the passer with the quarterback. Now next rush right end is normally going to be your other linebacker or any of your outside linebackers. So for example, Browning, he's actually 87 speed, 92 excel, 6'3". So we just need somebody with speed. Now this is where I was telling you that you're going to want to put your best pass rusher. So whether that's an end for you, maybe for some reason he was the best pass rusher, you put him in. Maybe if it's a left end, this is where you want to put that guy at. You want to put him right here in this spot. So in this case is my boy DJ Jones. So moving on, sub linebackers, this is actually going to be your two linebackers where they're going to be at. And right here, you notice I did have this guy right here. So he does have 90 speed, 92 excel. So he's going to be your user. Now the second linebacker spot, you always want to make sure you have somebody who can actually tackle, because you're not going to be able to use two people at once, if that makes sense. So you want the other person to be somebody who actually can make a play if they need to. So that's why I put Kareem Jackson here, because he does have high tackling. Well, high enough tackling. He's slow, but he can play zones better. So we just need somebody there, who can actually do a good job. Now it's the same philosophy with our slot cornerbacks. So the first one, I love to actually put the highest overall corner who's not my 1 or 2. So your number 3 corner and your number 4. And your number 3 really helps if you put somebody who's predicated towards zones or higher overall right here. And then this one could be a wild card. So I like my number 1 to be somebody who's actually can play zone if I need them to. Maybe if I need to man them up real quick, I have the ability to. But the other person, you just want speed. You just want somebody who can get there, get to the quarterback, because you can actually blitz him a lot more than you blitz that one. Because dollar, you have the option to blitz either or, if that makes sense. So that's how I like to do personnel. I wanted to take the time to really break down personnel, because that's the most important part of this defense. So the next important part is coaching adjustments. So I personally love to play zone drop when I'm dealing with empty. Maybe not right off the back, but I end up just testing it out. So I like to do 20 or 15. It depends on what my opponent wants to run. I normally like to just sit in 20, and if I need to adjust it, I will, based on what they do. And then I like to put my curls at 5 or 0. It just depends. I normally love 20 and 5. And now, hook zones, this literally depends on what your opponent's doing, and you're going to see me talk about that in practice. So sometimes I leave it on default, or sometimes I'll put them at 10. And again, it just depends. I'll put them at 5 or 10. It just depends on what they're doing. But I like to put them at 10. I feel comfortable there. Every now and again, if they're running really deep dig routes and they love showing me that they'll just run dig routes, I'll put them at 15. But most of the time, I like to put them at default, so that way they can just play their normal depth. So with that out the way, we're going to do every single thing out of DB Fire 2. But before we click that, I like to actually go right here to spinner, because I'm never going to send an all-out man blitz versus empty. So what I like to do is actually put in cover 4 drop. Okay, I like to put that in as a safety net in case my opponent wants to hurry up offense, and maybe I don't like the I'll just have to give you an example of that. So what we're going to do is come out in DB Fire 2 press. Okay, now the scheme is simple in itself, but it's really effective. Now I chose the Chiefs only because they're a meta offense. I didn't choose them for a specific reason. So we got empty base, they have empty halfback wide out, empty chief. Okay, so we'll probably alternate between the 3. So we'll come out in empty base flex, since it's a really popular one. And what's a meta play? And you gotta think, most of the time your opponents, they're not going to be running just these custom setups and these ebook style setups. A lot of times your opponents will be running stock plays when they run empty. So we'll do a very, very popular play, which is verticals. Just the bot play, bot central. But we'll go ahead and back up the ball here just to, give routes more room to progress down the field. So right here, so we're in empty, right? So it's just exactly what we said. So you have the option to use either one. So whoever you want to use her, it's literally up to you. Now, personally, how I like to do it is I like to judge it. I like to use her to the weak side. So in this case, I would actually use him just because this is the strong side. So you might be wondering why, and it's because a lot of times when you're playing against empty, the strong side routes, wrong control. So the strong side, they're normally going to flood the weak side. So for example, this guy may run a drag, this guy may run a crosser or something, like that's what I'm talking about. So, of course they may have drags and stuff going to the backside, but I just personally like to use her away from the strong side if I can. Now, that's if the ball's in the middle. Now, if they're on a hash mark, so if maybe the empty was over here, per se, then I would actually use her to the field, if that makes sense. So now I would use her this side, because now those 3 people, these wrong control, these 3 guys right here, they have a lot more room to work with, so they can actually run stuff to this right side of the field, if that makes sense. So if the ball is on a hash, I like to use her to the strong side. If the ball is in the middle, I like to use her away from the strong side. So just wanted to kind of give you that, because I think it's really important to understand why you want to use her a certain guy, instead of me just kind of hopping on here just telling you, hey, run this, run this, run this. You kind of need a game plan so you understand why. All right, so a couple things I like to do, it's 2 things actually. So you can actually press your whole defense. You can press R1 and press down. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is if you're really fast with your adjustments. So you want to press R1, you want to pinch your entire defense. When that happens, these corners are going to walk down. So sometimes I don't like this, because sometimes what can happen is those outside receivers can blow past your corners, because they're not playing press coverage. Let's see if I can actually show you that. So I'm not going to set up anything. I'm just going to kind of show you what I mean as far as them blowing past, so you kind of are able to see it. Now, it's only a big deal if your opponent is, I'll say above average. You have to kind of be above average to notice it if your corners are going to press. But kind of want to show you what I mean. Notice how he blows past him, and right here, he blows past him, right? So sometimes you can set yourself up for failure if you're doing that, especially when your opponent sees you're playing a cover 2 style defense. So first and foremost, you want to pinch your defense, and I like to immediately back off both corners. So to do that, you want to press triangle X, square, back off, triangle X, circle, back off. I like to back them off immediately before I do anything. Now, there's 2 things you can do actually. So let me throw this ball away. So you can set it up that way. And again, I haven't got to the setup yet, because you need to understand all this first before, okay? Because you need to find out which way works better for you. So there's 2 ways you can do this, right? Notice how our cornerback on the left walked down by alignment, and our cornerback on the right is still, he's off. So what you can do is, again, this is whatever's faster for you. Either you can globally pinch your whole defense and then back off your corners, or you can see which cornerback is not at the line of scrimmage. In this case, it's going to be the one that's over R1. So we're going to press triangle, we're going to press X, We're going to press R1 and we're going to press. So now notice how our corners are off and our slot corners are to the line of scrimmage. So there's a couple ways you can do this. So the blitz is going to be, as you guys know, it's a really great blitz. You don't have to do anything. You can literally technically run it like this. But what I like to do is I like to actually to whatever side I'm usering on. So in this case, I'm going to use it to left, right? So what I like to do is take that corner square. Either I deep half them or put them in the outside third, whichever one you want. Either deep half or outside third. Be careful, you can't get bombed because it is a cover 3 to that left side if you're doing it. And I like to take that safety up top, that's, you know, to that same side, and put him in the inside third. So last thing I like to do is, it just depends on who I want to blitz at this point. So I love leaving this vertical hook here. So if I want to blitz, let's say I want to blitz this guy, right? So what I'll do is I'll actually take X, and it's literally a wild card. What I normally love to do, I'll take him and put him in the vertical hook spot, and I will take that original vertical hook and I'll actually put him in a purple, just like this. So now we're playing a double Mabel style. And remember, these are at 20, he's at 5, so this is going to take away any type of drags that your opponent runs. It's going to take away the right side of the field, if you can see that, unless you get beat in this gap right here between cover 2, and you would just need to adjust this accordingly. But again, this is just one particular setup, okay? Now, this is only if I want to blitz this way. So what you have to understand is what? There's technically nobody in the middle, right? So you have to kind of do a lot of baiting. So what I like to do is I like to come here on the snap and then kind of work, you know, this area. Maybe pick up any drag routes. You know, this is where you want to really be good at lurking, because you have a big assignment. But we're going to be able to bank on a blitz come home. So you can come here, you know, you can come here, kind of bump, and then you're just kind of buying time, if that makes sense. So it's one of my favorite defensive shells to play when somebody comes out empty, because a lot of times what's going to happen is they're going to be looking for something quick, especially with these verticals play. They're going to want it quick, right? So what you can do is this guy is actually going to sit in a pretty okay spot. Now, this is practice mode. They're going to normally get a lot more depth than this in game, especially since I didn't zone drop him. But this is where if you want to put him at 10 yards, he'll go back immediately and not kind of do this little halfway shuffle. But even still, in Madden 23, you're just not going to be able to throw this. And if they try to throw it, just set him to 10 or 15, and he'll sit in the perfect spot right here. Now, this is where I was telling you, this is where you have to get a good user at, because what's going to happen here is you're going to have to climb and lurk this, right? But all we're doing, and keep in mind, all we're doing is buying time. We're just buying time for our, you know, 4-man rush to get through. And that's one way I like to play it. Now, if you're like, Rel, how you expect me to try to cover the middle and cover the left side? So don't worry, I got you. And again, I'll do this second setup right there where we press them, because I think that's easier when you individually press them. So what you can do is, another thing I like to do is I like to actually take that linebacker and I'll put him in a spy, and that'll help out in the middle. And I like to take X and put him on a vertical hook, and we'll do the same shell where we take square, put him on the outside third. We take L1, put him on a middle third. And again, if you're worried about getting bombed, you can just take square and deep half them, okay? You don't have to play the third. I just sometimes I like it because they help squeeze the post routes a little bit better. But you know, it's up to you. But I'm gonna leave it like this just for, you know, video's sake. And again, this is only if you want to blitz this left side guy. So what I like to do is I like to just, you know, on the snap of the ball, I'll come here and then, okay, cool, and then I'll lurk up top, and you kind of see why this defense is really annoying. Because what happens here is when you run it this way, there's nowhere for the quarterback to go, because this blitz is designed to just dumb out this tackle right here. Don't know why it's like that. It's been like that for years. Eventually they'll fix it, but until then we'll just keep abusing it. And you can tell he's going to help out sit on this drag route. So now I can be aggressive and use her here. As you can tell, they really can't throw this. It's just too tough of a throw, especially if you have an athletic safety here. It's just too tough. You know, most people aren't going to look there, but you kind of get why I say I like this defense. All right. So let's just talk about, you know, the other side blitz. All right. So if I wanted to blitz the other side, so a couple things I like to do is we'll go and block this guy right here. Not block him, excuse me. We'll blitz our user. So what's cool about this is you can set it up the same exact way, right? So we can put a vertical hook on that side. We can take circle, put them on a middle third, or we can deep half them, and then we can take R1, put them there. Now, when I run it to this side, what I like to do is I like to take X and actually put him in a purple. And remember, our purples are playing at 5, right? Or if you feel like you're confident enough to use the flats, then you can take them and put them in a hard flat. And our hard flats are playing at, if you remember, they're playing at 20. So just remember, you're going to be susceptible to giving up drag routes if you put them at 20. But that's okay, and the only reason why that's okay, because let's say we flash here, the only reason that's okay is because, as you can tell, if they throw that drag route, you can click on and you'll be able to make a tackle, okay? And I'll show you that in case you missed it. So again, notice how our user is going to be able to bait between, you know, here and here. And a lot of times what happens is your opponent would throw this ball right about now if they're decent, because they're going to see that you committed to this tight end route. And what happens is that they throw this, a lot of times you will be able to click on this guy. I'm not going to tell you to make the tackle because we are talking about EA. But I can tell you that you'll be able to click on him, and it's a one-on-one. You know, whether you get juked out your socks or whether you make the tackle, we can't control that. You know, so, but you can tell he gets in a really good position to be able to come downhill and make a play on that. So if they throw that drag, that's okay. You know, and if you get tired of them taking that drag, then what can we do? We can actually take this guy and put him at 5, which means that he'll hover about right here, which means when they throw that, you may not get a pick, but you'll be able to stop him for no gain just about every single time. But it's good because we're taking away this throw, because about time they can throw this when he clears this vertical hook, well, this flat, excuse me. They just really can't throw this flat because that'll be a pick, and they can only throw it now, and then we have help. You know, they're getting double teamed. So you can tell why I really love this formation. Well, this, you know, this particular play. All right, now let's say you want to be aggressive, right? So if you want to be aggressive, the best thing that you can do is you can actually just global press. It's going to be a lot faster because we're going to need to back off everybody, and then what we're going to do is we're going to leave them blitzing, and I like to take X actually and then put him in a purple. So whatever side is the you know, whatever side you want to double Mabel, which is purple flat combo, you want to do it to that side. And now this is just if you're just sick of them, you know, you're just tired of it, but you're tired of you know, them throwing a little, you're tired of them having time in the pocket. You know, you feel like your blitzes are getting home. So then what we can do here is just go immediately, and then now, you know, we can send that pressure. We can really get aggravated with that pressure. Now, last thing I'll talk about is cover 4 drop. It's just very simple, and you can actually globally press everybody. And I like to still back them off because you still find yourself getting burnt way too much on this game. Now, you definitely are okay playing this if you want to play them at zeros, if you want to play them at hard, you know, 20s. But what I like to do still is, it depends on what side, but what I'll do is I like to have my line out. I'll still crash them out, and I'll actually blitz either one. So if I want to blitz triangle, don't worry, triangle's blitzed. I know it doesn't look like it, but he's blitzed. So if you want to do it this way, and then you're just responsible for, you know, this whole left side, right? So you just want to feel a little safe, right? So let's say we snap the ball. Okay, cool. We try to blitz. Okay, cool. Now we're going to come here. And, you know, it's just a little bit better. Now, you are susceptible to getting bombed by cover 4 drop if your opponent knows how, but if you're worried, just deep half, you know, both your cornerbacks, or deep half one of them. It's just, it's literally up to you. But anyways, I was just kind of showing you this, that, you know, this is just why this defense is good, because they just take really good pass rush angles that really mess up the lineman's responsibilities. And a lot of times it's going to be like this, you know, to where you can choose which side you want to blitz from, which is why this formation is just really good. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I just wanted to quickly show you guys my favorite defensive shell when it comes to empty. Now, there's tons of other things you can run, tons of other shells, but just showing you that these little blitz combos are extremely effective on this Madden. Now, Madden 24, who knows? We got to wait. But that's going to wrap it up for this video, though. I do hope you have a blessed day. I'm Rage Real, and I'm out.